Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brother T, Freemason, cigar enthusiast with VCR, tapes rolling on another cigar review video, as you can about imagine. Now, what everybody's asking themselves, what are we smoking? Quick hint, it's from the Pepper series by Viaje. It is the Carolina Reaper. Haven't smoked one before, I'm super excited, and initial impressions, oh my goodness, is this aesthetically pleasing. It presents so well. It has a very reddish brown, almost slight oily sheen cigar. It contrasts very nicely against the slight metallic and reddish finish here of what is more of a wax paper than a tin foil. And the band strikes me as adequate band stock. It has a very simple but high contrast color palette of really a black, a red, and a white. The black is really more of a matte finish. And you're thinking, Brother T, why are we talking about the band? Well, because we have to remove it to smoke it. So we're actually starting this cigar review with the band review. And I will say, when you look at these pieces separately, maybe not that striking, but this is a perfect example of where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And this is that type of example right here, right now, live and in color. All right? Initial impressions we walk through, but let's talk through the pre-light aroma. A cedar, soft earth, soft leather, almost a cocoa sweetness, a little bit of a pepper, but not really so much like a vegetal note when it comes to pepper, more of a black or earthy type of pepper. And I will say I am in love with this Vitola. We're going to cut and light. Initial impressions, wood, slight sweetness, little bit of black pepper, a cream, draw, moderately dense, slight coating to the mouth. It is like pulling a milkshake through a straw. It has a lot of resistance, but come to be expected from kind of that little pointed foot that it had there. So we'll see if it opens up as we continue down the cigar. All right, everybody. Getting to about the 1 inch mark on this stogie here, and it is very dynamic, very engaging, and it may be, although maybe too early to call, my favorite Viaje I've had so far. It is that exciting. It started off at initial light. It had softer notes of wood, a slight sweetness, some cream. And after we got past that tip, it really started to pick up. It picked up in a big way. We had some building heat at the back of the throat, and it kind of ebbs and flows as we draw down on the cigar. There's a sweetness now that at the beginning was maybe a little bit muddled or a little lost. It very much turned into a dried fruit or raisin type sweetness. There's black pepper in here. Slight earth, and a little bit of cocoa, and almost a nutty quality. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it. I hope it stays this way through the entire cigar. We'll see what type of transitions we get. More to come. All right, folks. Get to that halfway point. Time to do a blend update, flavor update, but first, the inaugural, first ever cigar call to action. Maybe what we'll brand a CCA. Pause this video, go find this cigar because it's that good. It's box worthy, 110%. It's the first time I've ever had that type of endorsement on this channel. But in terms of blend, it is a 100% Nicaraguan tobacco. So that makes it a puro. You're exactly right. And it's Aganorsa tobacco, which is just fantastic. The wrapper is a Nicaraguan Habano, and then the binders and fillers are Nicaraguan. The flavor notes, though, continued that trend of being very dynamic. There's been some transitions, but there's a lot of flavors that are just jogging along and maybe jockeying for positioning. So we have still that woodiness. We have a coffee and cream finish to the cigar, which is fantastic. Still a little bit of earth. Still a dry fruit sweetness. Bits of pepper. A little bit of building heat that's starting to come back right now. Little cocoa. and still a creaminess to it. It is just, it's fantastic. I cannot say it enough. It is an amazing cigar, an amazing cigar. So more to come. We'll get into the cigar wrap up, do what, if any, type of blender flavor updates we have at that time. But in terms of strength and body, I'll tell you right now, this thing rings at medium plus to full, and it does it almost right away. So just a heads up on that. It is a very fantastic smoke, but it does bring a little bit of power, certainly has some body, and I found myself reaching for a Coke already. All right, everybody. It's time for the cigar wrap-up, flavor update, and goodness, it's finishing just as good as it started. Still very engaging. Primary notes we have right now, the finish is very much a coffee, still a cream, slight earth. There's a wood and a pencil head quality there, as well as a slight cocoa. Just fantastic. Construction, ash held on for halfway through the cigar before it kamikazed right into the lap, but that's all right. You know you're gonna take fire when you're on the front line like this, and it is just fantastic. I would relive that experience all over again. Burn, it was almost razor sharp the entire time, required no touch-ups. The draw, it started off thick, like a thick milkshake through a straw. It certainly eased up as we got going down on the cigar here, and it ended moderate plus in terms of density. The cigar, how it finishes in the mouth, it very much is more of a saliva versus a drying experience. So to that end, fantastic. It doesn't leave your mouth dry and pruny. You won't get that with this cigar. Strength and body, I know I touched on this probably about halfway through this video, but it's a medium plus to full quite easily, very easily in fact. I would probably recommend it as maybe an after dinner cigar. I'm smoking this at 10 a.m. in the morning. So what can you do? It's certainly a great experience. But it is something that brings a little bit of strength with it, and you probably want to have a full stomach. If not, get ready, have some Coke or some sugar standing by in case you need it. I'm Brother T with VCR, Freemason Cigar Enthusiast, and today we smoked one of the pepper series by Viaje, specifically the Carolina Reaper. If you smoke the cigar, feel free to drop a comment down below. Special shout out to the YouTube content creation community. Special shout out to Rory. Also, Ethan, you're my man. I also tagged the folks that I purchased the cigars from in the description if you're watching Instagram. I typically don't do that, but this cigar is so good and the service is so great at Pipe and Pint, I just had to call them out. Fantastic experience dealing with you folks. Just fantastic. I look forward to much more transactions in the future. And as always, smoke them if you got them.